So it's day 3 of me being back to living in my truck, and this is the third video in the Promise series of 10. I was gonna do lawyers today, but I'm gonna do the topic of this video is gonna be my mother, and she's relevant to this backstory and my current situation. So, um, my mother Betty uh, uh, was a horrible human being, or is a horrible human being now. She was a great human being, but she was not the best mother material. She didn't tell me the truth about my dad until it was too late for me to meet him. He died, and I suspected, and I point blank asked her twice, and she lied to my face. At 13 and 16, she told me, no, 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 no. Even when in junior high school science class, we had to ostensibly they were trying to teach us about genetics. I think that it was part of the curriculum because they were trying to expose my exact situation, and I asked for dad's blood type, and she said we didn't. Oh, blah 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 blah. But I knew his military records were still upstairs, and I went and found it, and I got his blood type, and my teacher told me this isn't possible. And so I went to her and I said, "Hey," uh, and she says she just she covered she distorted reality to the point that I temporarily let it go. Uh, so her original sin is, of course, lying to me about my dad, which was not only incredibly disrespectful to me, but the guy I have been referring to as fake dad, I'm never going to call that again because she screwed him over just as bad as she did me. And then when it all came out and he sued her and sued me, but I hadn't been served, so I didn't have to appear. Well, when it all came out, she tried to get me to tell him that he wasn't my dad. Days after I had found out that my real dad had passed away. And so, and then at 11 years old, so I don't know what you were doing at 11, but at 11 years old, I was standing at Canadian Customs, sweating my little nuts off, hoping that the duct tape on my belly that was holding the cocaine uh, uh, didn't let go, because I was used as a mule for coke at like 11 years old between Seattle and Prince Rupert, BC. I'm sure the statute of limitations has run out by now, but I don't care anyway. You know, I'd be better off in prison at this point because at least I'd have a bed to sleep in, and 3 squares a day. Uh, so lied to me about dad, used me to smuggle drug, uh, uh, and then a litany of other things. Right, like she never came to any sports things. I didn't. She didn't raise me. I raised myself, as my aunt told me recently. I need to accept the credit because I was my own dad, and much of the time I was my own mom because mom was off getting high, and there's nothing wrong with getting high, but when you are minimally involved in your child's life, uh, uh, that's not that's not acceptable. And I think she lived in fear for years. So when I was little and somebody would knock on the door, we would hide. Like, I don't know what it was like at your house, but we would hide and be silent. And my mom is a coward. And that's not a very long term friend of both of ours have told me Betty's a coward, and she was dominated by fear. And she's pitiable. I feel sorry for her, but uh, but but my mom's a piece of shit and a full blown narcissist. And I fell into the trap of picking a woman who was exactly like my mom. They got along fairly well at first, but then they went to war, and Uh, it wasn't pretty, and I was stuck in the middle, and two dragon ladies fighting. You don't want to be anywhere near that, especially if you're the thing they're fighting over. Uh, so for the record, my mom is a piece of work. I will never speak to her again. I had hoped to wait for her to pass on before I spilled the tea, but no fucks are being given. So this is a video about my mom, or was a video about my mom. Next up is the lawyers involved, and I'm gonna double check and make sure I get everyone's name exactly right. And if they don't like what I have to say, they can complain to the bar or fucking sue me. Because the man who has nothing to lose is truly invincible, and I have nothing to lose. Uh, Thanks.